The daughter of Oscar-winning actor Ernest Borgnine has come out to discuss the startling family betrayal, studio efforts to ruin his career, and dark truth that Borgnine kept concealed for decades that occurred before he played the compassionate butcher in Marty, 1955. This is the long-forgotten tale of clandestine feuds and potentially deadly on-set conflicts that went untold for 50 years. Born in Hamden, Connecticut, Ernest Borgnine came into this world on January 24, 1917. His Italian immigrant parents, Anna and Camillo, left behind a vibrant cultural legacy. It is worth noting that Count Paolo Boselli was a nobleman and his maternal grandpa was him. After his parents divorced when Ernest was 2 years old, he and his mother spent 5 years in Italy where Ernest discovered his family's heritage. They went back to Connecticut in 1923, and the whole family got back together. He became known in Hollywood after he and his family changed their surname from Borgnine to Borgnine. There was complete stillness in the room as he concluded his performance. With tears welling up in their eyes, the director and writer spoke the words, "Well, there's your Marty." The film's tone was established by that dramatic scene. Everyone believed in Borgnine because he gave such sensitivity and honesty to the role. The creators created Marty to avoid paying taxes, so he wasn't meant to be a major thing. They intended to produce a low-budget picture, put it out there once, and then consider it a failure. However, the audience's reaction was just astounding as they finished and presented it to them. It was a huge hit. The picture made almost $2 million on a production budget of only $343,000. It became an unexpected smashing success. Impressively, the entire filming process took place in a little 18 days. For realism's sake, they shot for 7 days in the Bronx before wrapping up in Hollywood. When his name was called, the crowd went wild with cheers. Borgnine thanked those who had faith in him in a brief but moving address. His victory demonstrated that an ordinary appearance is not necessary to captivate an audience. Both Ernest Borgnine and Hollywood were forever altered by his portrayal in Marty. Storylines with ordinary, approachable individuals were desired by the public. His $5,000 was one of the finest film industry bargains ever. Best Picture was one of 4 Oscars bestowed upon the film, which went on to become an enduring classic. The only catch was that everyone started to see Borgnine as Marty, the quiet and kind butcher. There were 637 screenplays submitted to him in under 18 months. Nearly all of them were for Marty-type characters. For the most part, Borgnine declined these offers since he didn't want to play the same kind of character over and over again. He aspired to demonstrate his versatility by portraying a wide range of personalities. In 1956, he opted for a completely different part in Jubal, portraying a stern sergeant. This stood in stark contrast to Marty. But turning down so many parts hampered his career and cost him a ton of money since he passed on opportunities that might have generated millions. But he was certain it was the best decision he could have made. And by 1958, he was landing parts like the Badlanders and the Vikings that revealed his true potential. The year 1962 was a turning point in Borgnine's career. A young man peddling candies visited Borgnine at his house one day. The boy had no idea who he was, and he was set to feature in a TV series. The young man was quite thrilled and answered yes when Borgnine inquired if he was familiar with James Arness from Gunsmoke. After that, Borgnine understood the impact of television. In a last-ditch effort to secure a television gig, he contacted his agency. For Mikhail, this choice meant forming his Navy. Borgnine became a TV sensation as the show became a huge hit, drawing in millions of people weekly. The show's success led to 2 film adaptations, both of which included Borgnine in a cameo. He had more success than ever before in his career because of the show. He went on to acquire additional film and TV roles when it finished. He had a busy acting career, appearing in 27 films and 18 television series between 1966 and 1975. His ability to switch between dramatic and comedic roles made him a sought-after performer. In 1967, Ernest Borgnine's portrayal of Major General Sam Warden in The Dirty Dozen gave him a new lease on life. He was seeking a fresh start in Hollywood at the age of 50. A total of $45.3 million was earned in the United States by the film. Many were impressed by Borgnine's portrayal of a stern and resolute general. Robert Aldrich, the director, phoned him personally and assured him that he would give the part more depth, which changed his mind about accepting the part. The decision to ultimately get Borgnine to agree was wise. Even though it was risky, Borgnine performed his own stunts on site, including jumping out of a moving vehicle. Even though he was injured, he had only 2 weeks to get the part before production began. At one point, he was swimming through a flooded corridor when his foot became trapped. He narrowly avoided drowning before he managed to extricate himself and complete the scene. Long hours and injuries were commonplace on set. Attempting to record a flawless rendition of his iconic statement, "Evil happened by accident," his voice broke. The producers thought it was hilarious, so they decided to keep it as a character trait. Mermaid Man was voiced by Borgnine for 17 episodes spread out over 13 years. A number of personal issues surfaced in the months after the release of his last album. While on his honeymoon in Europe, he said that his wife was envious of the many autograph seekers who recognized him. Their arguments stemmed from her anger over this. Even if it's not true, rumor has it that Borgnine pulled a cruel joke on her when they were on their honeymoon. The drama was heightened by this. Their split was widely reported in the media. Claiming Borgnine was abusive, his wife filed for a divorce from him on August 21, 1964. According to Borgnine, she had left him, who strongly disagreed. In court, they argued about who was more righteous and who should retain specific presents, like her pricey engagement ring. Borgnine was obligated to pay for her legal bills when the divorce was completed on November 18th, following months of battling. The turmoil surrounding their marriage lingered long after it ended. With his fifth wife, Tova, Borgnine finally found happiness after a string of disastrous marriages. In 1972, they were introduced on a mutual friend's blind date. Tova was 31 years old and Borgnine was 55, yet they hit it off immediately. They tied the knot in a low-key Las Vegas wedding on February 24, 1973. Compared to his other marriages, this one was unique. Beauty by Tova was Tova's thriving cosmetics firm, and she was fiercely self-reliant. Both her work and Borgnine's acting career were encouraged by her. They married based on mutual respect and friendship, and they each worked hard in their own fields while consistently making time for the other. Giving each other space but being connected as a couple was the secret to their happiness, according to Borgnine. Until Borgnine's 2012 death at the age of 95, their love had lasted 39 years. He frequently expressed regret in his latter years for not having encountered Tova sooner, since she was the source of genuine joy in his life. Disagreements with both co-stars and directors were commonplace throughout Borgnine's career. Borgnine and William Holden had an argument that almost escalated into a physical altercation on the 1969 set of The Wild Bunch, during which Borgnine claimed that Holden's drinking was interfering with production. Lee Marvin, who drank excessively and created trouble on set frequently, had uncomfortable interactions with Ernest Borgnine during The Dirty Dozen, 1967. On one occasion, Marvin even dared Borgnine to a fight, but Borgnine calmly diffused the situation without resorting to violence. Directors were another source of friction for him. Director Richard Brooks was first irritated when Borgnine proposed scene edits for The Catered Affair, 1956. Even in high-pressure circumstances, Brooks was able to get respect for his gut feelings when he publicly accepted Borgnine's suggestions. It was nice to see Borgnine's refreshingly uncomplicated acting style. His infamous comment, "No Stanislavski," was a jab at the sophisticated method acting approaches that were all the rage in Hollywood at the time. He depended on gut feelings and emotional candor rather than creating complex backstories for his characters. According to him, acting was all about using one's imagination and relating stories based on actual life. Speaking to students at Yale School of Drama, Borgnine remarked that acting was as effortless as speaking. Even though his classmates were perplexed by his direct approach, it served him well. Saying that acting kept his mind active and youthful, he prepared for roles without giving them much thought. His natural acting abilities enabled him to portray a diverse cast of characters, from the amiable Marty to the ruthless Fatso Judson. With television, Borgnine found his artistic voice. "Because you're in people's homes every week when you're on TV," he once observed, "it seemed more intimate than being in a movie. If you let them get to know you," he added, "they'll trust you." It was an out-of-the-ordinary viewpoint for an Oscar-winning actor, but it demonstrated his importance of maintaining relationships with his fans. At the age of 92, Borgnine achieved a historic milestone in 2009. The episode of ER in which he appeared as a husband whose wife was in the hospital dying garnered him an Emmy nomination. Despite its brief 12-minute duration, his performance was profoundly moving and subdued. After reading the script, Borgnine couldn't resist taking on the part, even though he had initially declined it, joking that he was too elderly to hang around in emergency rooms. Younger performers who were unaware of his continued career were particularly taken aback by the selection. It brought to light the rarity of major parts for senior performers. He had even more remarkable success at the age of 92 than the 11% of TV parts awarded to performers beyond the age of 60 in a 2010 research. In spite of his advanced years, Borgnine never slowed down. Along with Bruce Willis and Helen Mirren, he appeared in the 2010 film R at the age of 93. Until his passing, he adored his position as Mermaid Man on SpongeBob SquarePants, which he continued to voice around the same time. A number of his film roles continued, including That Man Who Shaked the Hand of Vicente Fernandez and Another Harvest Moon. Borgnine frequently made light of the fact that he was underappreciated. As he put it, "They keep asking if I'm still alive, but no matter what, he would always show them." A Life Achievement Award from the Screen Actors Guild was bestowed upon him in 2011 at the age of 94. This honor recognized his remarkable 60-year career and selfless contributions to society. After being selected to work in the entertainment industry, Borgnine made a modest statement in which he said, "We are a privileged few." From his hilarious part in McHale's Navy to his Oscar-winning performance in Marty, the presentation featured excerpts from his most famous work. To celebrate all that he had accomplished, it was the ideal method. Borgnine maintained his level of activity even in his last months. Just 2 months before he passed away in May of 2012, he gave an engaging interview at a fan convention, recounting humorous and touching anecdotes about his time spent performing with Frank Sinatra and Betty Davis. To promote his last picture, The Man Who Shook the Hand of Vicente Fernandez, he made his final public appearance in April 2012. He was just as charismatic and energetic as he had been when he was 95 years old. Ernest Borgnine died of renal disease on July 8, 2012, when he was 95 years old. His family, including his wife and children, around him. Being one of the last living Hollywood A-listers, his passing signified the conclusion of a golden age. From all corners of the globe, tributes were pouring in. He was praised by Morgan Freeman as an excellent performer and a terrific friend. One of the most trustworthy individuals he had ever encountered was Tim Conway, his co-star from McHale's Navy. In a touching tribute, even the United States Navy, where Borgnine had served for a decade, paid tribute to him.